Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. This is Craig Antonucci, your host for Voice of the Customer podcast. For those of you who've heard our previous podcast, this is our third one, and we are on a mission to talk to as many real live customers as we possibly can, because we want to hear it from them, what makes a great customer experience. And with me today, I also have my partner in crime, Karen Dupree. Say hi, Karen.
Hello, everyone.
There you go. And today's guests, we have Freddy and Mary Martinez, and they're joining us through my connection with Karen. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Oh, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us. So typically what we do, what we get started is we want to let the world out there know a little bit about you. So as we get through this podcast, we can kind of understand where you're coming from. So if you could both quickly give us an idea of, where you came from, where you grew up, anything that kind of brought you to where you are today.
Sure. You want to start, Mary? Or you want me to go?
You go first.
This is the typical all couples
right
podcast.
So, I'm originally from Panama City, Panama.
Okay.
And I came to the United States when I was 7. Moved to Newport News, Virginia. There was a military base, Fort Eustis, Virginia. And basically my stepfather at the time, that's how we ended up here. And I was a military brat, grew up in the military. And I myself joined the military as well.
Okay. What branch?
I was in the Navy.
Navy? Okay.
I pretty much grew up in a household. Hold on a second, guys. Go ahead. Can you take care of that for a second? We have a dog whining in the background. So
that is, it's funny. This is the third podcast we've done, and we've gotten past. We have not had any dogs barking yet, so you're the first one. This is a momentum occasion, everybody. First dog barking.
I'm sure my dog will start barking soon.
All right. So like I was saying, I joined the Navy, and it was in the Navy as I was actually on the tail end of getting out. It's where I met Mary. She was a young officer coming in, and we got together, and the rest is history. That was back in 1997, and we've been together for over almost 23 years coming up. And pretty much, I grew up in a household where at some point, my stepfather and my mother, they went their separate ways. And basically I grew up, in a single family type home.
Okay.
But my mother the virtues that she instilled in me and just the amount of discipline, I've always carried that with me. I never lacked for anything from that matter. And I could say that while it was a difficult childhood, I also met a lot of people, throughout, the course of, my childhood where, meeting people from different backgrounds allowed me just to become a little bit more, I guess, aware of everything that was out there. And I participated in sports and band and things like that. So pretty much I, very strong, Latino household, mother ruled with an iron fist.
So don't talk back to mom, right?
Right. You couldn't do that. You could try, but it wouldn't work. And but that's how it was. And like I said, I joined the Navy, then I met Mary, and Mary, you can tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. How'd you get here, Mary?
I grew up in Niagara Falls, New York. So
Okay.
I am born and raised a Bills fan. So
That's where he got it from then.
No.
Oh, wow.
I met him. He was already a Bills fan. He got it
in-
from Virginia, some of the roots in Virginia.
It was in the stars then.
Bruce Smith.
Oh,
There you
Bruce
go.
Smith was a big star.
That's right. I forgot about that.
And when I first started watching football, that's who I gravitated towards because I didn't know any different. I thought football was soccer, and they said, no, you're watching the wrong thing. And
Sure.
I started watching Virginia Tech football, and that's what it was. And I followed him to the Bills. And
Nice.
Yep. So I moved here we're at Fort Eustis now, and we started here at Fort Eustis 23 years ago. But that's when I moved here from New York. And then, I've stayed in this whole time. So,
Yeah. So she's currently been in for quite a bit. We've, like I said, we've actually, between her and I, we have lived on probably like 11 different areas and come back and forth.
A lot of times in Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia, for some whatever reason, it ends up being the magnet that brings us back.
Sure.
And
it's a nice area.
yeah, so yeah, this is where we're at.
And you got lucky enough to
Glad
meet
to have you
Karen.
back. Yep.
Yeah.
And Karen, you met Freddie way back when in school.
Yes, middle school.
Yeah, we were in
So,
grade school together.
yep.
There
We
we go.
actually worked at Busch Gardens together as well while we
Yes.
were in high school.
Hardcore. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, pretty much. If you grew up in the area, Busch Gardens was like your first job. I mean,
Yeah.
it was one of those things. You just worked at Busch Gardens. I loved it. It's funny because she laughs at me, but still to this day, it's probably one of my most favorite times and jobs that I've ever had. And this is
Me too.
crazy.
Yeah. Karen talks about it all the time. So, everybody at Busch
Really?
Gardens that listening to it, you have an enjoyable place. So that's a good thing. So we added someone in there.
Yeah.
All right. So let's take that background and let's talk about what this podcast is about, customer service. So what makes a great customer experience for you, and what kind of ruins the customer experience for you?
So, I could speak for myself. I will tell you that I look for kindness. That's the first thing that I look for. It's a genuine kindness and just a genuine wanting to be present in the moment for that customer. I know that a lot of times it's very easy for some people to fake the interaction, just because that's, I guess, some people are trained to do.
Sure.
But you can really see the difference when you feel genuine kindness and that person really cares about doing the right thing for you and by you. And I think it's probably the first thing that I look for. And you know what? Just the fact that people are enjoying what they're doing. When I don't want to go someplace and, go into an environment where the people who are there aren't enjoying what they're doing. I mean, because it does carry over into the customer service. If you're not happy, you're probably not going to be too happy with your customers. So,
sure. I mean, imagine that same scenario between, as a couple, one of you having a bad day and you're coming in ticked off. I'm sure it's not fun coming home that day and dealing with that at the same time.
You're right.
Yep.
So,
Mary, what about you? What makes a great customer experience for you?
It definitely genuine, but I mean, I guess it's all the same. You just want to feel like, for at least a moment, you're the most important person in the room, right? Because my business matters to it wouldn't always be the owner, but whoever
Sure.
I'm dealing with.
Sure. Yeah, you always hear the stories of if you're not the owner, act like the owner.
Right.
It's the
Mhm.
experience. So let's take that and let's talk about someone specific. So in the past couple of years, have you had a really great customer experience where someone delivered on that for you?
yeah. So, it's funny, prior to the podcast, we were discussing, just kind of going back and forth about, hey, what do you recall, what do you classify as a good customer service experience? And we both, readily right away, we thought about, we took a Disney cruise a couple years ago.
Okay.
And I have to tell you, I mean, we've been on other cruises, other cruise lines to compare. And I'm not talking about, we're talking about really, Royal Caribbean, top class, the newer ships, all that, right?
Sure.
And I had to tell you that there was something, and I know it sounds cheesy and corny, but it was magical.
Yeah.
It really was magical being on a Disney cruise.
Now, is it just you two, or do you have kids too?
It was us two.
Yeah,
Well,
it was a whole family thing.
it
There were
was-
11 or 12
There
of us.
were like 11 of us. It was us, our immediate family, our kids, and then her sister, her husband, along with their kids, and then the in-laws. So
Yeah.
it was a big to-do, and that was the other thing too. If you can imagine, I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with this, but Disney is considered to be one of the most expensive cruise lines that are out there.
I've been on one, yeah.
So for me, it was one of those situations where, gosh, we better be getting the best customer service for all the money that's being spent here.
Yeah.
But I have to say that was one of the times where I feel like royalty. I mean, I did.
Yeah.
I really did.
Everywhere we went, everyone we dealt with.
Yes.
Yeah. They
It-
were amazing.
It was magical. The kids just had an amazing time. Every person on the ship, that was within earshot, they would come up to us and, and greet us and just go out of the way to make sure. I mean, I feel like they knew me. I don't know if it's, if some type of, ploy that they have, I don't know what they do, but whatever it is that they do, you're made to feel special. And I remember leaving that place and not wanting. I wanted to stay. I didn't want to leave.
You could have driven an hour west and gone to Disney right after that too.
Yeah, I could have.
Right.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
I bet you there's a lot of people that actually do that too.
As a matter of fact, we met a few couples that did the Disney on the front end, and went on the cruise, and they went back to Disney on the back end because they wanted to check out all the other parts. It was like a 2-week, fun-filled Disney vacation. So,
all right,
yeah,
awesome. So that sounds like a really great experience. So, hey, we've nailed someone that did a great job, and I think we all can say that Disney really kind of knows what they're doing when they're talking about treating people well. Let's take it on the other side. Everybody's has had a horror story about someone or something that they've dealt with at some point in time. And you heard the gentleman on the last podcast. He's never going to buy another pair of pants from JCPenney. So tell me your story.
Well, it's interesting because we were going back and forth, and this is mostly, I guess it would be on the food side. So fast food. So a lot of times in a pinch, whenever you're traveling, whatever it is, you're looking for a fast food, as you're driving down the road. And recently we had taken a trip down to Florida in July, and we had stopped at a Burger King because, we did not pack enough food. We usually pack food with us to go down on the trip, but we didn't pack enough food. So we were getting hungry, and we decided to stop at a Burger King down in Florida. And I have to tell you, I think there were only 4 or 5 cars deep, but we were in there for 45 minutes waiting for our food. And then on top of that, they never apologized for anything. And as we're driving off, they forgot the fries.
Oh,
God.
no.
Well, and they didn't even know our order when
They
we
didn't
got
even
up
know.
there.
That's
They were
right.
like, "What did you order?"
Right.
You gotta be kidding me. It couldn't get any worse. I'm like,
No.
the only way it can get worse is to have no food.
Right.
Now, do you remember where this was?
Oh my gosh. I can't
I have no
recall.
Or at least the state?
It was in Florida.
Oh, it goes in Florida.
It was in
Florida?
Florida. It was in Florida. And it was actually near Fort Myers. It was close to Fort Myers, Florida.
Okay.
But I have to tell you, it was one of those experiences where we just left dumbfounded because it was like, how the heck does this happen? I mean, it's like, even napkins. We weren't even given napkins.
Oh, yeah.
There was,
no
napkins. Everything that you
Use your
needed to
shirt.
complete your meal, your whole meal experience was missing. No straws, no napkins, and I forgot the fries. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Wow.
And it just really made us think. Our daughter, her first job is working at Chick-fil-A. And I have to tell you, I don't know how familiar with Chick-fil-A, Craig.
I'm an addict. Are you
Yes.
kidding me?
You're an
Okay.
addict.
Yeah.
But I've got to tell you, she went through almost 6 weeks
Yeah.
worth of training
Yeah.
at Chick-fil-A to be able to do her job. And the customer service experience there is just night and day. I mean, you could have 20 cars deep at a Chick-fil-A line, and it still moves a lot faster than that 5-car line that we had in the Burger King experience.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy how much difference it is.
Now, how were the people to you when you finally got to a person that could take your order? Were they engaged? Were they just
No.
trying to get stuff done?
No,
They were just like, "What did you order?"
No.
Oh, okay, and
They
here
were
you go.
very, very
And that's
short.
it.
And again, there were no apologies. And here's the thing. Karen knows this, but I'm a very lenient person. I absorb a lot. It takes a lot for me to get upset,
Right.
So to see all this take place and then not even get an apology for anything, I was livid. I was livid. I didn't give them, I didn't go off on them or anything like that. However, I just left there with a very sour taste and just felt bad for the next couple of hours during that drive because I kept on going back to, they forgot my fries.
And you know what? What was worse is we don't split that drive up. That drive it was 16 hours.
It was 16 hours.
It was a 16-hour
Yeah.
drive. And
Yeah.
45 minutes, well, it's 17 that day because 45 minutes of it was spent in there. So we're already pissed off. And when we finally get to the,
Right.
to the window, we're like, oh my God, we have, 15 more hours.
Right.
And we just wasted an hour in line, and then you get nothing right.
Right.
Oh, and you're like
We
tired.
have been back to Burger King. Now I'm not a Burger King fan anyways, but
Right.
That is not our choice
Well,
to go back there.
Well, and she, actually, she brings up a good point. We're not Burger King fans by any means. However, for that trip, decided to go to Burger King. But
It was right across the street from the gas station. It was
Right.
just
Convenience, yeah.
But I have to tell you, I'll never go back to Burger King again.
They had their shot with you and they blew it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. I was watching TV last night and there was a Burger King ad that came on and they're selling the Whopper like crazy. I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh,
There's a bunch of people talking about, it's got the tomatoes and the onions. And the
Right.
one line that got me about it was that they said, people like real. So we've removed all of the additives and fillers.
Yes.
I'm sitting there thinking, what was in there before that?
Right.
That's funny. Yeah. Yes.
No.
So good deal.
Don't even try.
Yeah. So sounds like both of your experiences are pretty consistent with the values that you talked about in the beginning. Is you want an engaged experience where they actually care about you, and you got that from Disney. You felt like a prince and a princess walking around, and you had a great time. And then on the flip side, you had a really bad experience with Burger King, where they treated you like a transaction, and they even messed that transaction up. And does that kind of really summarize everything?
Craig, you hit it right on the head. I mean, I think you hit it right on the head. I mean, it was, and it was a complete contrast. I mean, night and day. It really was. I could tell you that I haven't been that upset in a while with customer service. And the reason being is I'm in customer service myself. I'm in medical sales, and I understand the importance of providing, good, customer service to my physicians, and, she's a colonel in the Army. She knows that she has to provide, great leadership, and be engaged with her soldiers. I mean, it's, you look for that,
Right.
And
so wait, you guys are Army and Navy?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. How did that work out in November?
Well,
Mm-hmm.
it's a good thing we're Bills fans together, because only one day a year is this house ever divided.
Right.
Because I live I live in South Jersey in the Philadelphia area, so the Army Navy game is a big deal around here. Good. I guess you guys are butting heads during that day, huh?
Yeah, but you
Yeah,
know what?
so bad.
It's not so bad, because you know what?
I'm not a West Pointer, so.
I'm also very pro Army. I grew up Army. She's Army, and you know what? Throughout the course of of our lives, I think we've interacted with both services in one way or the other. And as a matter of fact, our nephew and our son both have joined the Navy. So it's
My dad was Navy too.
Okay.
so.
I don't know how I ended up all alone in the Army. I don't know.
Awesome. You're the rebel.
Yeah.
Right.
You should have gone back into Burger King and gotten those fries. Well, awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure. And for everybody out there, just so they know, is that he was aware that I'm a Patriots fan before this call, and he's a Bills fan. So those of you watching this see the Bills cap in there. So we have not gotten in any discussions about the AFC East or anything like that right now. So we got through the podcast really well.
Right.
But Karen, thank you for co-hosting this with me. Freddie, Mary, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
guys have a great evening.
Yeah, you
Thank
too.
you.
And
You
just,
too.
just so you know, I'm actually a pretty big Cam Newton fan, so I've been having a hard time with the Patriots in him, but it's all good.
But we won't
Yeah.
be a fan on November 1st.
Yeah.
This is true. I said to a friend of mine the other day, I was like, what if this Patriots team is actually better without Tom Brady? I
Right.
was like,
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
I don't know.
You're Cowboys, Karen. I don't know.
I know.
We almost made it through the call without going that deep into it. All right, guys, you have a great evening.
Okay, thanks.
Talk to you soon.